man. So is the Fed set to crash Fantom within the next 24 hours? Has Fantom survived the $53 million liquidation on its platform? We're going to cover off all the important levels in the Fantom chart and look at the wider crypto economy, because Bitcoin is down 1.8%. Fantom holding up slightly in the green, although I'm just seeing a big red candlestick, which we'll investigate in this video. But we got the FOMC meeting tomorrow, the much anticipated meeting. We're going to break down what to expect. What could this mean for Fantom and some of our other favorite coins? And we're going to delve into the consequences and what I'm doing in this market. Make sure you hit up the like button. Make sure you subscribe if you like this blend between technicals and fundamentals on some of your favorite coins. As always, if you like my perspective, check out the links below to our course member live stream, ijaz.uk/member. Right, without further ado, let's go straight into the Bitcoin chart, because Bitcoin was holding up pretty well. You can see this little ugly red candlestick coming in right now. I'm sat here on the 4-hourly candles. We'll delve into this in a little while because it's literally happened since I've just pressed record, and we can see we're holding up at about the 38,000 level. But the important thing was we're at the top of the wedge. We seem to be getting rejected slightly now off the top of the wedge, and this is expected. We got 24 hours to go before the FOMC meeting. I further expect volatility going into the market close today, and definitely in the run-up to the FOMC meeting. The way the meeting works is you'll get an announcement at about 2 p.m. ET with a statement, and then at 2:30 you'll get the press conference. Really important you understand that both of these play a factor in the market. So again, the market opening up tomorrow, don't be surprised to see a bunch of volatility into the close today, as we're seeing literally right now. Now, the important thing is as follows. We need to understand, why is this FOMC meeting so important? And the reason it's so important is that markets are looking to this FOMC meeting. You can see currently the US markets are having an okay day today. Again, pretty volatile, but we're seeing 0.24% up on the Dow Jones, 0.5 up on the S&P, and 0.3 on the Nasdaq. So nothing to write home about, and it's continued some of its green from yesterday. But again, don't be surprised to see this sell off towards later in the day, as some of those fears start to creep back about what the Fed could be doing. But the situation at the moment is very balanced. All the shorts are pretty nervous as well, because they're worried about a potential rally. Remember, the FOMC tomorrow are going to decide whether to increase interest rates by what most people suggest and expect, which is 0.5%. Again, you can check that by heading over to the Fed Rate Monitor tool. This is a great tool. It tells you that the meeting's in one day, and it tells you that 99.3%, call it 100% of the market, has priced in a double rate hike for tomorrow. So a double rate hike is unlikely to spook the markets on its own. Okay, on its own, the double rate hike is unexpected to spook the markets. But if there is a triple rate hike, such as a 0.75, that could spook the market, so we could see a downturn. If we see 0.25, okay, which is a single rate hike, that could be a great excuse for the market to rally. And we could see a really nice bounce from some of our lows on the equities and obviously our favorite cryptos as well. Now, the other thing which we have to talk about, which a lot of people in the economic space, in the crypto space particularly, are not talking about, and that is the other elephant in the room, which is the quantitative tightening. Remember, the FOMC is not just in charge of interest rates, they also control how much money they print and how much they unprint, right? How much they hoover out of the economy. And we already know that they said they've decided on their plan for quantitative tightening, and if they announce that tomorrow and to what extent, that's going to move the market. So if they decide to hoover up a lot of money from the market tomorrow fast, for example, $90 billion a month, it's going to spook the markets. We could see red. If they decide to go nice and gently, something like 20, again, that could be something that could help us rally. Anything in the middle, 40, 50, the market could be going sideways / a little bit of red, depending on how they feel about the exact number. But something really high like 90, it could crash markets. Something like 20, really slow hoovering up of the money from the economy, could allow risk to stay on. Really important that we understand that. We'll be covering that off tomorrow, but we need to understand that that's going to influence markets, because if we're risk off, we could be falling to the bottom of this wedge and testing our negative price targets, which, remember, if we lose this pattern to the downside from a technical perspective, and this is where we marry up the technicals with the fundamentals. If the bearish situation plays out with the Fed and we start testing the bottom of this level at about 37,000, which we don't want to do, but if we do lose the bottom of this wedge, you could be heading to price targets such as 33. Not immediately, but over the next period of time as the market digests any hawkish sentiments from the Fed. Really important. So that's what we're looking at from the downside. Now, the top side is if we come out with one of the bullish scenarios, we could be breaking to the top of our pattern, which will give us a price target of about 42.5. That's pretty much where we want to get to at the top of the wedge, and then we can work our way back to 43,000. Remember, the ultimate aim here on Bitcoin is we need to work back to the top of this wedge pattern, the white one, and that pattern was 44.5. Okay, so those are the significant levels we need to get through. And if the Fed give us our bullish scenario, not only could we quickly get back to 42.5, but we can start working our way back into this bigger pattern here and start slowly trying to climb back over the next couple of weeks. And it could set up a good couple of weeks of some positive rallies in stocks and crypto. Now, let's take a look at the Fantom chart as well. Because here on the Fantom chart, you can see on the daily chart, we were bleeding, right? We were bleeding for a bunch of different reasons, which we were covering off day by day on the videos. We saw the Deuce Finance hack. We saw some of the comments from Andre Cronje, which actually turned out positive. If you haven't watched that video, make sure you go watch it. I'll link it up. Super positive video from Andre Cronje. He's had some really positive things to say about Fantom, and I cover it all off and react to it. So make sure you don't miss that. And then we had the whole issue with somebody called Roosh. Now, Roosh was the whale on the Fantom network who was getting liquidated, and we monitored his address, and we could see that he had 58 million of Fantom supplied in his Scream Finance wallet, and you could see that now it's sitting at 18, if you can see that, 18 million Fantom. Okay, so 40 million pretty much has been liquidated, and the fears were around Fantom not being able to cope with the liquidity, right? That's where the FUD was, that's where the fear was, and that is why we saw some crazy pricing. I'm just switching over to the 4-hourly now. As low as 68 cents. I think we wicked below that down to probably about 65. And you guys saw me. I was buying the dip. I didn't want to buy the dip, but I kept buying the dip into weakness. A bit of a rookie mistake, but I just saw it as a crazy pricing. And I was honest with you and said, look, guys, I can't help myself here at 65 cents. I've got to buy some more. Now, in order to balance that out in my portfolio, I also bought some other larger caps as well. I'm always transparent with you guys. I'm not just going to keep accumulating a small cap project like Fantom, which is now sitting just under 2 billion in market cap. I've got to top it up with other larger caps as well, particularly in a volatile market like this. Now we're seeing some strength, right? We saw some strength in the last 4-hourly candle going as high as 80 cents. We touched the 80 cent mark. We're now getting a bit of a red candlestick here. We're now as low here as 76 cents. But again, that's just the jitters leading up to the FOMC meeting. So I wouldn't be too concerned about that. Now, we need to now understand, okay, what is going on with Fantom? Because the reality is, we can see that, like Mark, shout out Mark Jeffrey on Twitter says, Roosh, the wallet, got liquidated and Fantom survived just fine. In retrospect, this is all now positive. Fantom proved resilience under great stress. It didn't Solana. And I made that point. If you watched my videos a couple of days ago, I made the exact same point. Solana had outages for however long it was. Was it 7-8 hours? And again, they had a 13-hour outage in September. That's a major outage on a network, and Fantom stood the resilience of 40 million getting liquidated at crazy times when we're leading up to the FOMC meeting. Everything is bleeding. Bitcoin is hanging on a cliff edge. All coins are suffering. Things like ADA, sitting there at 77 cents now. Things were really bad. But still, it was able to absorb that stress test. So really positive for a sub $2 billion blockchain. Is showing great resilience. And I think a lot of people are not giving it the credit because you've got a project like Solana or Ethereum, far bigger market caps, which have struggled in similar scenarios. So good strength there shown by the blockchain. But again, please remember, this is a smaller project and you need to hold it with smart portfolio allocation in mind. I can't stress that enough because a lot of you guys were panicking. I made the videos at the time saying, guys, those of you who are panicking have crazy allocations in Fantom. You have too much Fantom, you have more than you can afford to lose, and you have crazy allocations where you've got 60, 70, 80% Fantom and nothing else. Some of you had 100% Fantom and nothing else. And when you do that, it's not just about the fact that you don't have conviction. When you do that, you just go blind because you're just so emotional that you have no other investments. You have no investment. You don't have any Bitcoin. You don't have any Ethereum. You don't have any ADA. You don't have any Solana. You don't have anything. And all you do is sit there saying, start questioning yourself about Fantom or what could happen. Remember, any project can go bust. I'm going to say this now that Fantom has got through the hub. I didn't want to say it at the time, but any project can go down. And you need to be smart about this. Any piece of real estate can have an earthquake and fall down. Any stock, right? Any company can go bust. Any CEO can pass away, can leave the project. You've got to be diversified. No project is, it's like they say in football. I don't know if you guys watch UK football, but no team is greater than individual players, right? It's the club, it's the squad, and it's the same with your portfolio. Have a smart portfolio, and you're going to survive much longer than some of these coins, right? Some of these coins will come and go, and the aim of the game is to keep your portfolio running so that you stay in the game. But overall, really good news here for Fantom. And now let's see if the Fed is going to crush Fantom tomorrow. That's the key, right? Is it going to crush the markets? Is it going to crush Fantom? Fit ingredient sitting at 27. Not too bad leading up to an FOMC meeting. We're not in extreme fit. But I really am looking forward to this FOMC meeting, because if tomorrow we can get permission to rally, I really think we can get a multi-week rally going if the Fed don't screw us. And if the horrible case is Jerome Powell comes in, either a 0.5 and definitely the bad case will be a triple rate hike, right? 0.75. But then if he comes out in his press conference and says some really hawkish stuff, market's not going to like that. And we'll cover that off tomorrow while he's talking. If he crashes the market, we'll be able to see that based on when he's speaking. He's done that plenty of times before. Or he can come out completely the other way. He can do a 0.25 or 0.5% rate hike, which will still be fine, but come out with really, sensitive comments around not crashing the market, coming off a little bit dovish, which could help the market get some peace that he's going to give us a bit of a soft landing, which is where he gradually brings the economy, the inflation down as a soft landing. That's what the market needs right now. It needs that, it needs to know that Jerome Powell is on side so they can start to turn risk on, and then we can see some of our favorite coins start moving to the upside. Now, the other thing I wanted to address in terms of Fantom, there was a really good episode of Fantom Unchained. Shout out Austin. Really good episode. I'm probably going to react to the end bit because he had a really interesting conversation. And at the end, Austin and Babis, who was on the channel, had a really good chat around what things Fantom and the Fantom Foundation can do to improve. So I'm going to react to that video because I think there's some really good insights. I'm going to add my 2 cents as well on what I think they could improve on. I know Austin's got a good connection with Simone. I chat to Simone as well. So it'd be good for the whole foundation, the community, to kind of get together and say, what things do we think are the priorities that we think the foundation can improve on? And what have we learned from this liquidation attempt as well? Yes, Fantom has survived it, but how did we get into a situation where a single wallet is making such degen plays? And is there something that should be put in place to prevent such things from happening, which could potentially brick the network? Or is this one of the challenges of having a truly decentralized platform? We're going to cover that off in a future video, so make sure you've subscribed. If you haven't watched my video reacting and breaking down what Andre Cronje said, because he revealed the truth not just about Solidly but about Fantom as a whole as a project, so make sure you go watch. I'm going to link that up right at the end of this video. Really important that you go watch that. As always, guys, looking forward to tomorrow with the FOMC meeting. Make sure you subscribe because we're going to cover it off on this channel. As always, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.